All right, welcome to Beyond the Den. In today's episode, we are thrilled to host Mr. Lark Davis, a distinguished voice in the crypto world. Lark's insights as the founder of Wealth Mastery are shaping the future of crypto investing. Whether you're navigating crypto cautiously or diving in headfirst, today's discussion promises to be invaluable. And this dude has over 1 million followers on Twitter. I mean, it's actually unfathomable. And this dude has been grinding for the many years, creating content when most of you were in diapers. So... So let's talk about your crypto story. What drew you in and how did your early experiences shape your path?
Yeah, it's interesting. I talk about my early story a lot, and I'll mention briefly, but it's interesting to think about how it shaped my path moving forward, because that's definitely been, the early learning experiences have been crazy because there's no manual for this, right? So I first heard about Bitcoin in 2012, didn't buy, kept an eye on it from a distance, finally pulled the trigger in 2017 and really dived deep into everything. Massive learning curves, complete obsession. Couldn't sleep at night. I was like, I must go learn more about cryptocurrencies, what's going on and missing out. Full on FOMO, right? And I started learning about it. I started investing in it. You get into Bitcoin, and you go, okay, great. Now it's time to buy some altcoins. Bought some XRP. Bought some NEM. If anybody even remembers that coin these days. Wow. Bought some Digibyte. Those are my first 3 altcoins that I bought. And just absolutely went down the rabbit hole of learning about cryptocurrencies. And part of that became actually documenting my journey in cryptocurrencies. So I started creating content back in the day on the Steem blockchain, STEEM, for anybody who remembers that thing from way back in the day. I'm not sure it's still around anymore. But basically the idea of it, you post something, if somebody upvotes you, you get paid real money in crypto tokens.
Okay.
Basic idea of it. And so I started posting just whatever over there. I went to this vineyard. Here's what I thought of their wines. Hey, here's top tips if you're traveling in Thailand. And of course, here's what I think about Bitcoin. Here's what I think about Litecoin. And those posts, of course, because it was not just a crypto native app, but crypto was really popular at the time, started getting the most engagement. And so I started doing more of those. And eventually I started doing only those. And then eventually I was like, man, this is taking a long time to write all this crap out. I'm just going to make a quick video, post it on YouTube, then post it over here. And then actually the YouTube videos started taking off and things kind of went nuts from there. And in terms of learning the journey, it's been absolutely wild because there's no instruction manual for how to be a content creator in this space, right? And so you're learning about, okay, how do I create content? How do I create content that's good? How do I provide value for my audience? And how do I continue to learn about all these different cryptocurrencies, these blockchains? What is Bitcoin mining? What is a smart contract? All this kind of stuff. And you just dive in and in and in and in.
Yeah.
We were just talking very briefly in the pre-show, but I quit my my day job in November 2017, near the top of the market. And then the bear market came, and look, I was still able to pay the bills and make money during the bear market, but man, it was a lot harder. Views dropped over 90%. So it's very much like the rest of everything just drops. All your coins drop 90%. Some coins literally go to zero. Your views are down. Your affiliate clicks are down. Everything's down, right? Sponsors aren't interested anymore, and so on and so forth. And so it was a very strong business lesson, that 2018 bear market, in that, okay, I need to build a more resilient business model. I need to, which is, where we came with, now we have courses that we sell. Now we have a monthly newsletter that we have sponsorships for, memberships for, and all that kind of stuff. And so that was more building a business versus just being like an influencer, right? Mm-hmm. And throughout 2018, one of the nice things, and 2022 was a little bit similar as well. You actually have time to sit back, relax, and breathe a little bit because it's not insane FOMO times in the market. You have time to really dive in and engage more and figure out, okay, how's the best style for making content? I can spend more time reading about these different blockchains and doing different things on chain. And of course, 2018, there wasn't actually that much to do on chain, but still, you could play around and do some of those things. It's crazy to see how far the space has come now. We have everything to do on chain. It's wild.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy, man. Where do you think the biggest opportunity is in content creation? Like what specific sector at the current moment?
I mean, look, there's a few. If we talk about crypto specifically, obviously, there's a few different niches that really get popular, and we see a lot of creators doing very similar stuff. But I think some of the biggest niches right now are sort of beginner content, how-to content. That's definitely something that, as we see 2023 finish and 2024 start to heat up, that we're going to see a lot of people coming in who are completely new and they want beginner content. How do I buy my first Bitcoin? How do I use an exchange? How do I send a transaction on Solana? Yep. So that's definitely an opportunity for budding creators. And one other interesting thing it's playing with fire, let's say, but it's what I call the prosperity gospel. And we see some creators do this very, very well, but you have to actually be able to live it. You can't fake it. Some people try to fake it. You know, the guys who go out and rent a Lamborghini look at the Lamborghini I just bought with my Forex trade. Like, bro, nobody believes you're full of shit. Yeah. But then there's other creators that are actually doing the big trades, right? They are actually making the money. And if that's you're already doing that, and you want to then create a social channel around that, it's perennially popular because people always want to live the life. And that's part of the reason why people like Andrew Tate are so popular. You know, he lives the life. Him and his brother, they are like the guys other guys want to be like and be around. They have the cars, they have the watches, they have the girls. That message, you see a lot of other people do. I mean, what's his name? Ty Lopez and stuff were doing this back in the day with the Lamborghini in the garage, right? This kind of stuff. So, look, that's, like I said, you're playing with fire in that way. If you want to go, you know, a more squeaky clean route, an easier route perhaps without having the Lamborghinis, it's the beginner content creation. One other thing that I would say that's coming up big time in the market and has been for a while is shorts and more shorts. Short form content's gone absolutely insane. The amount of TikTok creators that can go from 0 to 1 million in a very short amount of time is absolutely crazy. But the thing is, if you are wanting to get into that shorts game, whether it be on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or wherever, if that's really your big focus, it's got to be volume, it's got to be good, the hooks have got to be good, the content's got to be good, potentially controversial sometimes because controversy does well. And it doesn't have to be crazy controversy, but strong opinions on things that other people might disagree with. Maybe Bitcoin's not the best coin to buy. Whoa! People will freak out, right?
Right.
The one thing, if you are going to be a shorts creator in this space, you got to figure out a way to monetize, because if you're just doing shorts on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, you're not going to be making almost any money compared to long form creators on some of these platforms. So you got to figure out a way to monetize and to do it in a way that's going to allow you to have longevity. So that's going to be affiliate marketing and stuff like this, selling your own products, just something to think of for the creators out there.
Yeah, 100%. You're also seeing a lot of gaming content come out now,
100%.
especially with Web3 gaming. I think that is a huge opportunity in the crypto hemisphere, man. Are you seeing, I noticed that you had made a couple calls regarding some Web3 games in some other podcasts that you were in. Are you kind of spending a little bit more time, you know, investigating into that realm, or?
Gaming's probably one of my biggest areas of investment for my venture investments. I'm really big into gaming as a niche. Now, the funny thing is, I don't play video games. I don't have time to play video games anymore. But I understand. I feel like video gaming is a very easy niche for people to connect with. Sure. The same reason that dog coins are popular. You know, when people come in, it's true. It's very true. When people come into the market and they start learning about, okay, what's Chainlink do? Okay, cross-chain interoperability protocol. That sounds pretty. Oracles. Okay. This one's got a dog picture. I'm going to buy that one because it's simple. It's simple. It's a simple concept to understand. The number is going to go up on all this crap anyway when the market's right. I'll buy the one with the dog picture because I understand that. It makes sense to me. And so gaming, to an extent, is a very easy concept to understand. You don't need to understand very deep technological protocols and procedures, or like some of this DeFi stuff. Man, this DeFi stuff's insane sometimes. Okay, so I got to get my coins here, and then I'm going to take them over here, and then I'm going to take that liquidity protocol token, I'm going to put it over here, and then if I need to go back to the main site and stake it, and that's all done on Ethereum, so I spent $300 in gas fees. It's like, dude, and there's no instruction manuals. Nobody's saying like, hey, this is all the steps you need to do in order to maximize your profits. It's like you got to like figure all this crap out. Whereas you can go and buy a gaming coin. Like, I like that game. That game looks cool. The game's probably going to get users, and the price of the token's probably going to go up because it's a good looking game. Sure.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was farming some airdrops last night, and I was watching some tutorials of, videos on a couple of the Solana blockchains, and I'm looking, obviously steering away from ETH because I don't want to pay the damn gas fees. I mean, are you kidding me? So I was on a couple of, I was on Drift, I was on Camino, and it was like, take your soul and put it in the B soul, and then take that B soul and lend it, and, borrow from the B soul. And I'm like, oh my God, it was insane. But, farming, I'm sure you're kind of no stranger to farming airdrops.
Yeah.
What's your best airdrop you've ever landed?
Oh, that's a tough one. I can't remember what's probably been the highest value one when I sold it, but I can tell you this one: the highest one that for the money put in versus what was returned. That was one called Pool Together, and it was funny because I actually did it. This is like a no loss lottery. So you basically you put your money in, they go out and use the stable coins to farm, and once per week they give all the yield to one person who has a ticket, right? And so I just did this like back in like late 2019 or something as like an example video, like, hey guys, check out all this cool DeFi stuff's going on, check out this protocol, and put $10 and forgot about it. Came back like a few months later, or like a year and a half later or something, they were doing an airdrop, and I was like, oh, I have like $2,000 from that $10 I put into the protocol back in the day. So that's one of the biggest winners in terms of like what I put in and the effort I put in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Other ones have done well. The Pith airdrop's worth a few grand. I got $5,000 from Arbitrum or something like this. I haven't hit any of the $1 million ones yet. Let's put it that way.
Jeez, yeah.
In the last market cycle, I don't know if people know this or not, but in the last market cycle, Avalanche and Solana both did airdrops to early people who use the testnet and very early adopters, people running nodes and stuff like this. Those early testnet users got so much Solana and Avalanche that near the top of the market, those airdrops were worth to close $1 million. Jeez, and all you had to do was go use the free testnet.
Crazy.
It's nuts, man.
Think about that. I mean, are you farming currently? Like, where do you see the opportunities? I mean, you're looking at, Arbitrum, you're looking at AVAX, you're looking at Solana, obviously. You're trying to look for low gas fees, little bit of time requirement. Portal just came out with their Web3 gaming. I mean, that's a little bit of spam, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on? Are you looking at airdrops, or do you think there's opportunities in the market people should be looking for?
100%. Airdrops are one of those things I kind of do when I have like, I don't know, a little bit of like, time on my hands, right? But I've got a pretty extensive list of things that I've interacted with, and some I'll continue to interact with more than others. But in the past few months, I've farmed on Mantle, Base, ZK Sync, Polygon ZK EVM, Linea. I'm just going to read out the list here. Starknet, Shardium, Scroll. As well as a whole bunch of different platforms like DBank, MetaMask, Orbiter Finance, Dmail, Layer Zero, Cashmere Finance, Zeta Chain, Ethermail, and the list goes on. And of course, now I've added 11 Solana farms this week and 3 Injective farms. By the way, if you guys want some alpha, Injective, come on, there hasn't been any like mega airdrops over there yet. There are different apps that could be doing big airdrops. We've seen how successful it was bringing money into the Solana ecosystem. I would expect Injective to do something similar in the future. There's multiple tokenless protocols. I'll give you guys a few names real quick.
Look at this. Let's give it to Lark, man. He's dropping some alpha here. I love it.
So there's 2 big ones that are we're going to do an airdrop. One is Talis NFT Marketplace, TALIS. The other is Helix app. This is just like a DeFi thing. So HELIXAPP.com. So go and check. If you're using Injective, go check those out. And there's the potential there to get an airdrop in the future, of course. Nothing's ever guaranteed in the airdrop game, guys. There's always risking your money when you're using these new protocols. Things get hacked. You can lose all of your money. Keep it in mind.
Great advice. Do you have a specific strategy when you are farming? I mean, I never know how much money to put in. Obviously, it's a shit show, right? But like, are you putting in, say, $25 per move, or like, what are your thoughts?
Usually, if you can afford it, right? I usually do like a few $1,000s per chain. So like I've got a few $1,000s on Solana and a few $1,000s on ZK Sync and a few $1,000s on Linea, right? And some of them I am more interested in than others, and I will continue to do more effort in some than others. Like I haven't done much effort in some of my mantle ones, for example. I'm really looking at like ZK Sync's got big potential.
Yep.
Linea's got big potential. Solana airdrops gonna have big potential. So I'm looking at, okay, where's the biggest potential? Injective, right? So it's usually a few $1,000s per chain. Now here's some extra tips. Do it frequently. Don't just do it once. Do it frequently. If you're going to go in, try to set aside some time every week, every 2 weeks, at least once a month, where you're going to go in and you're going to do stuff. You're going to go in, do a few swaps on that DeFi exchange. You're going to, lend some money. Maybe you're already lending some money on, let's say, MarginFi on Solana. And so you've got your money lending in a pool. Take that money out of that pool, put it in a different pool after a month. So you're just, because you're doing continual activity, you're creating new volume, right? So think about these ways to create volume, because you never know exactly what the parameters are going to be for an airdrop. Is it going to be based on volume? Is it going to be based on, hey, you just staked one Solana and now here's $5,000? We don't know exactly what that's going to be. And so you always have to try to do things to try and put yourself in the best situation. Now that's for apps specifically. If we talk about the layer 2 networks themselves, so right now we're seeing people chasing after like ZK Sync and Linea and Scroll. Here's an interesting thing that you can do beyond just bridging money into the chain and using applications. You can actually do two very interesting things. One is to run a node. So there's a website called chainstack.com. I think it's .com. And they allow you to run a node. Now, obviously you have to pay. It's not free. Yeah, chainstack.com. So it's not free. You have to pay. It's a monthly service. But if you're willing to do that, again, there's no guarantees here you're ever going to get anything. But we've seen node runners receive some of the biggest airdrops because you're actually doing a real service for the network. So there's a potential there. Potential. Again, no guarantees. And the other thing, we see developers getting the biggest airdrops. Now, what is the barrier for a developer? Usually not very much, if we've seen previously. It can be as simple as you can go and use a website like Third Web. They just had an exploit the other day, but I'm pretty sure they fixed that. Anyway, again, this is like getting on the Oregon Trail, guys. Some people are going to die of dysentery. Be careful, right? So always keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But there's a website called Third Web, and it basically can go. You can click, and you can, in just a few clicks, you can deploy NFTs, you can deploy tokens, so you can actually then deploy contracts on Scroll, on Linea, on ZK Sync, and that counts as being a developer because you've actually deployed contracts onto the network. Like you don't actually have to go and like make your own Aave or anything like this. You just need to deploy contracts, and that might get you into the developer pool for an additional airdrop reward. So this is like next level strategies here, guys. You don't need to do all this stuff. Some of the stuff's way more complex, way more time consuming. But at the very minimum, you can put money on Solana, go and do a few swaps on a decentralized exchange and hope for the best because you might still get something. Remember, Jito people who staked one frickin' Solana got $4,000.
It is crazy. And you tell anybody outside the space and they look at you like, they already look at you like you're crazy, but then they just like almost tune you out. They're just like, that's not even possible. And you're like, no, it happened just with the I had that ENS airdrop. I'm sure you've had the ENS airdrop, and it was like, oh my goodness, $20K right off the bat of just, just having an ENS. I was like,
didn't get an ENS, man. Everybody's telling me you need to buy an ENS. You need to buy
you can't make
an ENS.
You can't hit them all, right?
No, you cannot.
Yeah. So with your Wealth Mastery subscription, you actually, one of the things that you provide are tutorials or just information on different airdrops too, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we were doing the math the other day, just on the top 5 airdrops we've nailed in 2023, and it was worth about $30,000 of airdrops that we've covered, right? So obviously, we don't hold people's hands. We give people information. So Wealth Mastery, it's an investor report, right? So we talk about news and altcoin alpha, like, hey, what's big upcoming news for this altcoin that might move the markets, right? DeFi tutorials, some of our DeFi tutorials have been some of the biggest earners because we try to cover tokenless protocols before they drop their tokens. And again, that's a big part of our $30,000. Just our top 5 airdrops that we've covered in the newsletter have been from those tokenless protocols. We do DeFi tutorials on. We also do lists of basically all the airdrops going on, all the sort of airdrop alpha we can find. We're trying to share that all the time as well. So because we know airdrops are a big way for people to make money, and all you have to do is put in the work. You do need a little bit of money in most cases, but if you can put in the work, the return potential is absolutely outsized to the amount of capital that you're putting in. And if you have a very small account and you do have some time, like if you're sitting here on 20 million bucks, man, you don't need to do airdrops. You're going to be okay. If you got 5K, 10K, 20K, you can't tell me that receiving an airdrop worth 4K, 10K, we 38K in airdrops this year. If you have a 20K portfolio, you would have literally doubled, your portfolio and then some, just by getting into a few of these airdrops. So like, it's absolutely worth the time to be doing this research. If you have even if you have $1 million account, I mean, like, come on, you're going to, I don't want that $20,000. I'm too big for that.
For the 10 minutes that it took me. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. So let's talk about that Wealth Mastery subscription. You have different tiered memberships, correct?
Yeah, so we've got a free newsletter, actually. In the free newsletter, we share truckloads of alpha in the free newsletter. That comes out 3 times a week. And then we have our premium newsletter, which is kind of like the next level. So that's like the really in-depth tutorials, like the super in-depth altcoin reports. Actually, our altcoin reports are done by a guy who I would describe as like Bitcoin maximal-ish. Not quite, a maximalist, but maximal-ish. And he's very just like takes no bullshit because he's been around. He's seen it all, man. He's been in the space for years. And I've known him for years. And he just like, when he sees the bullshit, he just calls the bullshit. And, he's usually
good person
right.
to have.
Yeah, he's usually right on it. He's not always right at the right time on it. Like I remember we covered some things and like the market pumped because there was hype and narrative and people went crazy, but look back, he was right. He was right that this is not sustainable. This is not going to work in the long run, for example, on some things. And so we're doing those really in-depth altcoin reports and like DeFi tutorials and technical analysis, all this kind of stuff. So like free newsletter is fantastic. Premium newsletters like for people who want to take it to the next level, basically.
Yeah. And what was your inspiration for starting the subscription?
Yeah. So I've always thought that, the newsletter model is very, very interesting as a business model. And it just allows you to have a very in-depth conversation in a way that I think you can't necessarily have on a video, which I know sounds kind of crazy, but people listen to audio content and it just kind of comes. The amount of times I hear people saying like, well, you said this or that. The other thing, like, I have never said that, but like you heard it and you just, you
interpreted it. Yeah.
Yeah. You interpreted it that way. And it's kind of like, but when you see things written down, I think it comes in a different way. And so it allows us to also just cover like so much more stuff. Like I do a live stream for an hour, 3 times a week. And we barely scratch the surface, man, of the stuff going on in this space. And so the newsletter lets us get all these little details in, like, hey, here's 10 different altcoins that have market moving events or big upgrades coming. You might want to pay attention to. Like, lets us to really get nuanced, right?
Sure.
And and plus also, from the business side of things, newsletters are a fantastic business model. So it's not only can we provide great value, but it's also a very interesting business to run from premium memberships and recurring revenue from premium memberships. And, it's a great way to connect with our course sales. And also it's a great way to bring on, quality sponsors as well.
Mm-hmm. And you're already getting so much alpha just by bringing on different guests and learning so much about the space. It's now just putting it, into a subscription model. It's like you're already doing it anyway. It's, hiring the right team and then the right avenue for you to put it out. So that's phenomenal. Let's talk a little bit about current and future trends going on right now in the space. So quick favor to ask, hit that subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, that's going to allow me to attract top tier guests to provide you with the most value possible. Give me a follow over on X at Digital Optimist. The current market conditions, what do you see as the greatest potential for growth in crypto?
Sure. I know there's a few different asset classes that are definitely getting a lot of attention that, almost nothing you're seeing in crypto today is new. I would just like to point that out. If you talk about decentralized physical infrastructure networks, we were talking about those in 2017. Oh, we're talking about real world assets. We were talking about this in 2017. Most of the projects back then failed because they were too early.
Sure.
I think now we're actually starting to see there's a potential for success for decentralized physical infrastructure networks and real world assets and stuff like this, because finally we're getting enough people in crypto and enough institutional adoption and general adoption just more broadly that it could be the time when we could actually see some of these things taking off. But that's not where I've allocated most of my capital. Again, most of my capital is allocated towards major blockchains, layer twos, and gaming. I think that's going to be a very big space. In DeFi, actually. DeFi, I think, regardless of the complexities of DeFi, the truth about DeFi is that it has a very big earning potential area because so much money gets into it. So much money gets into it. And there's new protocols that have launched that are still quite high potential. Like one is that I'm a private sale investor and I hold it as well from farming it, is called Prisma. They're still pretty low market cap. So they're a liquid staking Ethereum protocol. They issue out like a stable coin and stuff backed by liquid staked Ethereum. And like those kind of early farms can have very high potential. Now, look, if you're farming stuff in DeFi, you want to get in early. If you're listening to this in like late 2024, you probably don't want to start farming stuff in DeFi because by then it's probably too late. In 2023, yeah, exactly. It's picked over, but you're also you're getting in late, so you're getting your money in these protocols at a time when the reward's probably not going to be that awesome. Because remember, you got to pay taxes on all this stuff, right? And but if you're getting in now, you actually have the gains potential to get in, farm stuff, get rewards, and then be able to sell it later for a higher price. So DeFi is still very interesting to me. I think the layer 2 trade has big potential. I mean, don't fade Ethereum. I know Solana and Avalanche are getting a lot of attention right now for good reason, but don't fade Ethereum, especially their layer 2 network when we have the EIP 4844 upgrade that is going to reduce fees by 10 to 100x for those layer 2s. So they're going to be like competitive with like Solana and stuff now in terms of fees. So that's huge, game changing for layer 2s in Ethereum.
Sure.
And yeah, in gaming, there's so many hot games coming up. It's absolutely crazy. And which game is going to win, I have no idea.
Right.
But there's definitely some good-looking ones. One that I'm a private sale investor in and I'm very, very excited about is called Off the Grid. They're not out yet, but they're coming out soon.
Yep.
So these guys have like, you ever see District 9?
Yes.
So they got that guy. The director of that is their creative director for the game. So it's like, it's definitely got that vibe, that feel.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
like,
cool.
you know, yeah, it's really cool looking.
Is that Dr. Disrespect's game or no?
I think he played that.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can't remember which big YouTube gamers or Twitch gamers who ever played, but I think he might have played Off the Grid.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Man, the opportunities are endless for sure.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about advice, right? For those who are just coming into this space. What's like your top advice that you would give to them?
It's actually very much connected to what we just said. So there's a few things. Obviously, buy low, sell high. If you're coming in late and you see Coinbase apps at number 1 in the market, don't buy because you're buying high and you're going to sell low. Remember to take your profits. Obviously, if you don't take your profits, the market will take them for you. Very simple. But what we were just saying, I think it's very important, is that there are so many opportunities in this space, an overwhelming amount of opportunities in this space. You do not need to take them all. We've actually talked about more in this conversation than probably most people would have time to even absorb realistically. You don't need to do everything. Find your edge. If you are great at trading, do trading. You don't need to spend a bunch of time doing other stuff. You just get distracted. If you're great at NFT flipping, then do that, man. That's your thing. Like, you don't need to try to be everywhere all the time because that's just a recipe for getting wrecked, basically. You know, like the reason I kind of focus on things I focus on and, you know, I'm not super invested in some other areas in the market because this is what I'm kind of familiar with. And I know it's all going to make money at some point anyway. I don't have to be everywhere. I don't have to be chasing every new thing. The market will come. You got to have a bit of patience sometimes. So really, guys, you don't need to have under coins. You don't need to chase every hot new narrative. You know, there's plenty of ways to make money in this market. There's plenty of ways to have edge in this market. And I'm very encouraged by the fact that I can look around and I can see people who really are just killing it. You know, they're traders and they've got an edge in trading and they slay it. They're airdrop farmers, their whole damn thing, and they slay it. They slay it. They make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, millions of dollars a year in some cases, just airdrop farming. They're DeFi guys. They're guys who back in 2020 made so much in DeFi, they retired. They're done. They never need to work a day again for the rest of their lives. They made hundreds of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. And those opportunities still exist for the right people getting the right things, finding the right opportunities. Yeah. Right. Sometimes the market's on easier modes than others, and we're definitely back in a time when easy mode's coming. But you don't have to chase everything. Like NFTs, for example. I don't really do NFTs, man. Like I've got a few NFTs that I own. They're fun. I enjoy having them. But the NFT flipping game, it's not my bag, man. It's not my bag. Sure. I can't be bothered trying to, you know, beg to get into the
rarities and why does this have value? Yeah, you're constant. Yeah, it's a whole nother animal. I mean, I'm obsessed with NFTs. That's kind of the rabbit hole that I went down. but I get it. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in for sure.
I totally understand why people love them. I love NFTs. I just the NFT flipping game is not for me. Like if I'm going to buy an NFT, it's just because I like it. Like I bought some from there's OG NFT artist Josie Bellini. She actually made the paintings behind me. We Are Satoshi in this Ethereum painting here. Love it. She's been in the NFT game for ages. So she released like these cool NFT sort of avatars, and I bought like 4 or 5 of them because I really like them. I have no intention of selling them. I like them. They're mine.
Sure. You know? Yeah. You hang the piece of art because you like it. It should be the same way with NFTs in your digital wallet. Exactly. Let's talk about some rapid fire questions here. All right, for our audience. So here, a hidden gem project you're currently watching.
Interesting. Hidden gem. That's a fascinating question. Like,
nobody's really talking about it. Kind of flying under the radar.
What is something? Hold on a second. Let me look here. What is something? Because I'm just trying to think. Like my immediate answer to that was going to to be Beam, but everybody's talking about Merit.
Yeah, because of Becker and you got Becker.
Yeah.
And...
2 months ago, this was under the radar.
Right. But that's how quickly the space moves, huh?
That's right. Now it's not. Oh man, I missed one the other day. I was looking at Aave's Chi protocol, Ben Chi or whatever. And I was like, Friday, ran out of time to buy. It's like, okay, I'm gonna buy it Monday morning. Monday morning, it's up 200%. Like,
right? It's crazy. It is.
Look, I would say this is it's not necessarily like super under the radar, but potential area that might be worth looking into will be Polkadot. Polkadot has definitely not got the attention so far in this cycle. We've seen a little bit of price action, but not very much. And particularly the beta plays, things like Moonbeam, which is like the Ethereum equivalent for the Polkadot network. Stuff like that could have nice potential. Definitely under the radar at the moment. Potential gems. I mean, Moonbeam, I've got a bag. But Moonbeam, they've got huge investors behind them. And if we see the Polkadot ecosystem taking off, hey, that could be something.
Yeah, which is bound to happen. Right. I mean, it's a kind of it's an older coin, that's for sure. And most people have written it off, but it's up like what, 40-50% in like the last month, right? It's starting to make a run for sure. Okay,
guys,
so
I want to throw one other in there if I can real quick. It's Trader Joe.
Of course.
Trader Joe. They've gone up a lot recently. If you see a big pullback on that, it might be something interesting worth looking at because they pay real yield USDC for staking their coin. They'd have an airdrop coming up, it's probably going to inflate the price a little bit. But man, I was comparing them to Uniswap yesterday. Like, it's crazy. They're 1/5. They're doing 1/5 the volume at 1/20th the market cap.
Wow.
And they pay real yield. The token actually has value, unlike the Uniswap token, which is completely valueless unless you're a mega whale and want to govern the protocol for some reason.
I was going to say, isn't that more governance?
Money. Yeah.
Did they do a snapshot already on that? Do you know? Or
I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to look into it yet.
Interesting. Crazy. So what about a strategy, regardless of market conditions? What's one strategy you always rely on? Regardless of whether we're in a bear, bull.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, I know it sounds super basic, but just, buy low, sell high, man. And it really is that simple when it comes down to it. And you have to understand where you are in the market cycles, obviously. When I've been out here just publicly telling people, hey, I'm buying this, I'm buying this, I'm buying this for the past year, that's kind of buying low. And I actually made a video recently saying I'm not buying any more Bitcoin at these prices. Maybe if we get a huge pullback, I might add a little bit more Bitcoin as a final purchase for the cycle or whatever. Yeah. But man, once Bitcoin gets up over 40K, over 50K, like the risk reward is, not as strong as it was when it was 25K.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's really simple, but just you got to buy on those red days. Buy coins before they have their big breakouts, right? And do that research. Find the stuff that could be up and coming. And you're not always going to get it right. And that's what I try to do. I try to find things before they're big, right? And that's not always easy, obviously. And if you can, the rewards are massive.
Yeah. How about a prediction for the next 6 months?
Interesting. The prediction completely hinges on the fact that we're going to get a Bitcoin ETF. Now, I've been trying to run different scenarios in my brain. Will it get approved in January, or is this going to be like the ultimate market fake out? They don't approve it in January, and they wait until like March to approve it. That would cause chaos beyond belief. But assuming the Bitcoin ETF gets approved, this is my prediction for about the next 6 months. We are going to see a Bitcoin ETF get approved. There's going to be an initial sort of final push into the day it starts trading. The day it starts trading, we're probably going to have a correction, a sell the news event where people on day one realize, well, $10 billion didn't come in today, so therefore this is a scam and I'm going to sell my Bitcoin to BlackRock now, basically. We might see a decent correction after that period. Now, if that is far enough before the Bitcoin halving, that's sort of where you're running into that next narrative. I'm not sure we're going to get to a new all-time high price based simply on the Bitcoin ETF narrative. We may. It depends on, again, actual volume that starts. But the fundamentals of the Bitcoin ETF are definitely a buy the rumor, buy the news reality for the long term. Short term, you're probably going to have a bit of a sell-off in that short term period. And so then new all-time highs for Bitcoin late 2024, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think that's
not the peak necessarily, but new high prices.
Yeah, for sure. And if you look at past market cycles, I mean, you're looking at 12 to 18 months after the halving is usually when BTC is booming. So yeah, I think that's a great prediction. How about your top layer 1 pick and then also your top layer 2 pick?
Yeah, right now my top layer 1 pick, I would say, well, Avalanche, but it's a big cap now. It's a big cap now, right?
It's smashed up the past month.
I can't believe the strength in Avalanche, man. It's just been wild. I mean, I'm glad I bought a big bag. I added a lot to my position during the bear market. Should have bought more, as always.
You never have enough.
Never have enough, do you? Oh man,
it's gaming though, right?
Crazy. Yeah,
it's the gaming narrative.
Yeah, it's catching a lot of other narratives too. It's catching the real world asset narrative as well. There's been big the subnet infrastructure is crazy. Like they're catching a lot of stuff. So I think Avalanche has been a big winner recently and will probably continue to be a winner. Not saying to run out and buy it now after this epic run that it's been on.
Sure.
Obviously, look for more fortuitous times to add positions if that's your thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How about a trend that you believe is overrated?
Interesting. Probably to an extent, I would say almost like AI coins. Now, a lot of the AI coins trading on a lot of hype. And look, I've invested in AI coins. I've interviewed, Ben Goitzel from SingularityNet multiple times, and I love AI. AI is massive. AI is huge. AI is incredible. And some AI coins do have some nice potential to capture value from that market, but a lot of them are simply riding on hype. If your coin's big value propositions, you have to go through 10 steps to have a tokenized version of ChatGPT. People are just going to use ChatGPT. They don't need to use your crypto version of that, right? So a lot of this is not necessarily thinking about end user experience or value capture for the tokens and stuff like this. It's just simply something AI hype. Let's do it. Token will pump because people do that. Yeah. So to an extent, I think the AI niche in crypto, there's some good ones. I'm not saying there's not good ones, but there's a lot of hype there that isn't always backed up by substance.
Sure. You're almost going to see more of the normies coming in that are jumping on that. I feel like, just from the AI narrative outside of the crypto sphere and saying, there's an AI crypto that I can jump on. I'm going to buy that because I love AI, but I think they'll be behind the 8 ball for sure. How about a investment opportunity from the past that you wish you grabbed?
Ooh.
Other than $1 million, right?
Other than $1 million. Yeah. I don't think there's any particularly big one. Probably not going all in on Solana back in 2020, I think it was. Because I remember I was kind of watching Solana from the sidelines, and then I don't know, for whatever reason, I just didn't grab a big bag. But I was looking at the price when it was $3, $2, I was just I don't know. Should I'll think about it. Thought about it. Price started rallying, and I was I should have bought, and then price rallies more, and I should have bought back then, and yeah. Never had any huge amounts of Solana. I have Solana. I've got a few more Solana. I bought a few for airdrop farming, but I've never had more than 20, 30 Solana, because I do stuff on the network, but I don't have it as an investment. So that's probably one of the big ones that I missed and look back and I should have just threw everything into it. But hey.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I could empathize with that. I also looked at, back when I first got into crypto, it was a lot of the gaming coins, and I was like, this is going to be huge. But you talked about it earlier, timing a lot of it is about timing. You could be too early. The narrative's correct, but it's just, you could just be too early and just miss the gains where, you bought and held, you'd be fine. But the thing is, the emotions take over, right? You start selling, and it's a typical trend for sure.
And companies don't last either. You can have real world asset companies. I've seen a dozen real world asset companies over the past few years, and they were all just the wrong time, and most of them run out of money and go bankrupt.
Yeah. Yeah. And also with gaming too, think about the costs that it takes to run a successful gaming company. So last question here. All right. So it's a strategic allocation, right? So if you had $10,000 US dollars, right, to invest in crypto right now, how would you allocate it? Could you share two different strategies, one for the conservative and then one for the degenerate?
Sure. If you are, okay, let's do conservative first. That's the easiest. But if you're a conservative investor, you got 10K and you're okay with lower returns, probably $2,000 each into 5 big caps. So 2K Bitcoin, 2K ETH, 2K Avalanche, Solana, and Chainlink. You're done. Don't buy it all at once. Dollar cost average in, buy $500 a month for the next 4 months. And then whenever you reach a sort of 4 to 5x return on those, start dollar cost averaging out over a few months. And you'll probably do relatively okay. You're not going to turn that 10K into $1 million, but you might turn that 10K into 40, 50, 60K, maybe a little more if you're lucky. Now, for those willing to take a little more risk, and I would say generally if you have a 10K portfolio, you probably need to get comfortable with risk, because with 10K, if you're just buying Bitcoin, you're not going to get rich. You'll do okay, to be clear, but 10K is not going to make you rich with Bitcoin. Even if it goes up to $1 million, you might get, 200K or something total if it happens. Great, not bad, not rich for most people's considerations.
Sure.
So if you want to take 10K and make big money on it, take 1K and put it into airdrop farming. So put $250 on Solana, $250 on ZK Sync, $250 on Linea, and $250 on the Scroll Network, and get busy. Do stuff continually over there. I say those networks because you're going to be able to use those applications and stuff and pay very low gas fees. So that's where K is going. Other than that, you probably don't even want to really look at Bitcoin, Ethereum. There's no point if you have 10K. You probably want to look for much higher risk stuff. Obviously, you can lose all your money, but you can take the chance to make a lot of money too.
Sure.
Don't put all that 9K into one bag. You probably want to start looking at mid cap to low cap. So mid cap, we're talking stuff between $500 million and $100 million market cap. There's some really great stuff in there, by the way. Some really great stuff that has 10, 20x potential. Easy, probably in the quote unquote easy in the coming bull market. And then that's probably where about 4K is going to go. And 5K, we're going to go all in on risk here, assuming we can lose every penny that we're putting in, but you want to go low caps. Between the probably about $50 to $60 million market cap range down to the $10 to $20 million market cap range, there's some pretty good stuff that is potentially going to do 40, 50x returns, maybe, right? And so you find 5 of those, you put a K into each. And you rebalance this portfolio too as you go. If one of those coins suddenly moons and it's now worth 90% of your portfolio, you need to take some money out. Maybe you take some money, put it in your pocket, you get your initial capital back out, which way lowers the stress of your position, by the way. Maybe you find another new cap or two to put that money in. Do keep in mind, though, when you get down that low cap market zone area, it's also a graveyard of projects past that are never going to come back. So don't buy those ones. Look for the hot new things that have come out that haven't really had a cycle, or they came out late in the bear market. People are still talking about them. The builders are still there. The developers are still doing stuff. The community still supports it. They just haven't taken off in price yet. There's some good ones out there. So, have a look around. And that would be probably how if I had 10K and had to do a 10K portfolio, that's probably what I would do.
Man. Dropping the alpha. Mr. Lark Davis, baby. I love it, dude. Freaking special, man. I this episode really dropped a bunch of golden nuggets, and it's extremely valuable to have you on. And I can't thank you enough for blessing us with your presence, my friend.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a great conversation, great questions, and I've really enjoyed it.
Hey, everyone. What is up? It is Digital Optimist here. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on Beyond the Den. Quick favor to ask, hit that subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, that's going to allow me to attract top-tier guests to provide you with the most value possible. Give me a follow over on X at Digital Optimist.